Gaze into my lens flare titties.
Listen. There's gonna be a logical review, so prepare your frontal lobe for some logistics. Shockwave's gonna be standing at over 7 inches tall, just look at that. And speaking of looking, just look at this box. It's a nice box. And you get this nice little cardboard insert that you can use as a stand or display option for the figure. Never gonna do that, save for this moment right here. Shokugan, HG, out of order, movie, King, Rubber. And here's Shockwave with an assortment of other Transformers figures, either related, unrelated, I mean they're all from the same IP, technically. But yeah, just wanted to showcase some newer releases, some older releases, some releases that I'm going to be talking about rather soon. And here's my Council of Logic that I have next to my desk. Yeah. And I got this thing from Hasbro Pulse. Not personally, I just bought it off of him. So before we get started in acknowledging and appreciating and praising all of his logical beauty, we have to do a little bit of work here. Shockwave's Brazilian butt berserker gun and wire piece will come out of the box detached. But hey, yo, look at all that lovely detailing on this, which is just supposed to be a flimsy piece of rubber. And this friggin' thing, my god. In comparison to Core Class Microwave's gun, jeez. Get started, just turn the figure around, locate back orifice, shove it in, transform the arm just a tad, locate this here tab, fit it into this here hole, like that, and the instructions tell you to fit the wire into this hole over here, which doesn't really produce a screen accurate hang. So what I like to do, take that out, locate this general area, shove the wire into this here hole, and now you've got a bit more of a screen accurate hang. Yeah. I just devoted time to this. It's really not all that worth it though, unless you're just posing him because, yeah, it comes undone real easily. So basically, I just wasted your time. Paint and detail-wise, Studio Series Bumblebee Shockwave is magnificent. Like always, there is a healthy amount of just pieces molded in a different colored plastic. The Shockwave does, in fact, have some scratched up paint applications on his titties and on his ab area. A little bit of dry brushing on the thighs over here, and thankfully it don't look like doo-doo stain. Remarkably, though, none of that will be present on the legs. We will get a little bit of it on the shoulder blades over here. Decent little smears, I guess. And we will get some paint around his little flashlight head over here, as well as over here on the biceps and forearms, and this might actually be painted, not the purple, but the area within. This area over here is definitely painted, especially looking at it from the back. Maybe a little bit on the gun. Maybe? Regardless, what's painted looks lovely, while minimal, and the color separation between the different colored plastics that make up this figure, it's just friggin' awesome, man. I love that more deeper and royal purple that this guy's sporting versus, well, the purple that Microwave got. That's not to say that I dislike Microwave now, not my joke. I just feel the deeper, yet again, more royal looking purple suits Shockwave a hell of a lot more. That and I just love the detailing on his titty window. Speaking of said detailing, just look at this dude's hand. Intricate, robotic, elegant. Hell, there's even detail on the underside of his forearm cubby over here. And the up close and personal detailing on his backside and his ass, on the back of his thighs, on the sides of his knees. He's a biomechanical orgasm with legs. He might not be able to look over his tits, but everything else that's present on this figure in the form of detailing is Jesus Christ. And this is quite the exciting moment right here, as I do believe this is the very first Transformers figure I've taken a look at here on this channel that actually has light piping. Let's just get Sergeant McClicky-Light. Click and... that looks nice.
Logically so in low-level lighting.
Really lights that yellow flashlight eye up very, very nicely. And believe it or not, his chest is indeed clear, so if you were to rip off his titties, extend them out a little bit more, and pilfer the LED concoction from the head of a CCP Ultraman, and just finagle it into his tittial area, Shockwave's ultimate weapon, the triple D84 watt memory spotlight, as seen in that one episode from Transformers G1, Shockwave will be able to stun his prey with an absolute full moon level voluptuous flashing. Results may indeed vary. It's not exactly the brightest light in the world, and it doesn't fill the titty window up, but yeah, a solid star in terms of paint where it exists, detail, translucency for the tits and the eye, everything here is fantastic and obscenely accurate to what we saw in the movie, especially this little area over here. Shockwave has an Autobot symbol on his forearm. There does exist a canon where Shockwave was an Autobot, as the IDW comic canon actually showed Shockwave's past when he was Senator Shockwave of the Autobots, a true ally to the Autobot cause. Unfortunately though, the Autobot Senate that he worked alongside had him kidnapped, reprogrammed, destroyed his friggin' face, essentially making him the cold hard medical logic-based being he is today. And the whole destroying of the face just to give him a mono eye to really take away whatever little humanity he had is just such a cold friggin' move. But in the IDW canon, some of the higher up Autobots, or at least a majority of them I think, it's been a while, were actually quite crooked. Not great people, no. It could also be a reference to Transformers Animated, where he disguised himself as Long Arm, eventually becoming Long Arm Prime, the head of Cybertron Intelligence no less. But the explanation might not be as canonical, as apparently Shockwave and Optimus Prime from the Bumblebee film actually just share CGI assets. They just didn't change it. So yes, Shockwave has the Autobot insignia on his forearm in the movie. I kind of prefer the IDW lore, but you gotta give Hasbro some credit. Present in the movie, present on the figure, solid star for that alone. So before we transform, let's go over articulation. Gonna get a swivel at the head over here. Arms can move up about that far. Doing so will reveal some new detailing in his pits. We'll get a full rotation at the arms, a decent bend at the elbow over here, including a bend down. Ouch, not logical. Hands are on a ball joint, but they will be restricted to just a swivel at the wrist. See? I ain't lying. Ball joint. We'll also get a swivel at the forearm over here, and don't worry, that swivel does work with the gun attached over here, thank God. Shockwave can do the logical copter at the waist over here. At the hips, the legs can kick that far forward, that far back, as well as allow a very, very beautiful spread over here. Thigh swivel. Nice. Decent bend at the knees, plus swivel. Up and down motion at the foot over here, with a very bare bones pivot. And not too much going on here, and that's probably my least favorite part of the articulation on this thing. But at least he can get nice and deep down low. Solid star for articulation. Posability-wise, Shockwave might be lacking a teensel bit. Yeah, just a teensel. But for the most part, you can get many a Shockwavian poses out of him, regardless of what it is. Whether he's slutty or just looking really, really sinister with his artificial evil eyebrow thing up top there. Between the darker, more royal purple on this guy, the posability options, and just the overall design, this guy's gonna stand out with my Shockwave figures. And that doesn't really say much because I don't have many, but he's easily the one Transformer I have the most of. So just the fact that he's this posable, and the fact that he has like such an eye-catching color, such an eye-catching design, it is going to do wonders for my Shockwave collection. And I'm not sure if any other Shockwave yet to be released on its way, yet to be confirmed, is really going to stand toe-to-toe with this guy. Although I will be getting that comic book version of Shocky. Regardless, this guy's fun. It's all just so finite. I am perfectly fine with this, even though I definitely, absolutely want that YOLO Park model kit of Shockwave. But I'm a broke bitch. Anyway, what was I saying? Let's transform this guy. And hey, look at that! Shockwave's a tank. Who could have seen that one coming? Interesting little tidbit about this here transformation. Nowhere in the instructions does it mention that the gun head can be extended, as all the images in here show it all scrunched up from robot mode. And apparently that's not somewhat of a new occurrence with Hasbro. It's been happening for a bit now. He can roll really nicely, not gonna lie.
Attack the camera!
What little articulation you will get in vehicle mode is mostly going to be up here at the tank head, gun head, blaster. You will be able to move left and right, and if this wire wasn't connected, you definitely could go all the way around. Also, this little piece over here that the blaster rests in with that peg can actually move back and forth just a little bit. Try as I might, usually the gun head just comes undone unless I put proper pressure in certain areas. But if you get the little peg over here at an angle like this where it moves a bit freely and you apply it back onto tank mode, you can get the tank mode pointing up, and I do mean all the way up, to make it look like Shockwave is asking God to kill Peter Parker. He doesn't need to ask God, he has logic. And of course there's one more thing to do. I give you Yoga Tank Mark II. I realize this review is coming out a whole year after the review for this gentleman came out, but you can't blame me for that, blame Hasbro. Solid star for that there transformation. Very easy, very similar to that of Microwave over here. And for once, this was one of those transformations where I did it twice with the instructions and then I was perfectly fine to do it afterwards. Overall, Studio Series Shockwave is everything that I was hoping for when they eventually turned Core Class into a larger sized figure. And to finally have this peak design as a figure that I can afford is great. Anyway, I've been ShinRobjira. Do so hope you all enjoyed. Not too sure what the next Transformers review is going to be, but on Friday we will finally be finishing up the Jaxathon. Social media, Patreon, $1 a month, access to everything. Have yourselves a lovely day, afternoon, and night, and I'll see ya on Friday. Peace.
Gaze into my lens flare titties.